Hey guys, it's a Drop of Rain here. We're going to talk today about the Assault class, specifically our loadout, and we're going to talk about some changes we can make to make it a little better for ourselves in game. So let's get right to it. Okay, we're going to start off right now with the assault weapons. Firstly, we have the Sturmgewehr. It is a low fire rate weapon in my opinion. It's not a really viable option and we're not really going to talk about it anymore. In my opinion, it's just not good compared to some of the other weapons we have in this class. The second gun we're going to talk about is the Gewehr 43. It is an absolute animal for a range. You can pick snipers easily. Undoubtedly, I feel more comfortable with the Gewehr 43 than I feel with the Kar 98 at a range, which is just phenomenal for the assault class. It's a great gun overall, really. The M1A1, great fire rate, great for close range combat. Put a 3x scope on it and you could still use it for a range. It's a solid weapon choice, really. Now the M1907SF. The fire rate on this gun, I wish they had more weapons like this. It can just throw bullets downrange like no other weapon. It has a solid magazine size now that they gave it a buff in the last patch. It really is, it competes with the SMGs. It's probably better than the SMGs up close. I don't see any gun even mid-range that could take it in a direct gunfight one-on-one. If you're faced with a few more than maybe two people, I'd say you're probably going to have to reload a couple times. But one or two people, this gun is the one for you. Now the Turner SMLE. You put a 3x scope on this weapon, and it is an absolute animal for sniping again. These semi-automatic rifles, I can't get enough of them. They have no scope glint in comparison to the snipers. You have no disadvantage really at a range. Low recoil on all of them. Just, if I would be on an assault class constantly, I would definitely always choose a semi-automatic rifle. The assault rifles are great, but they're, in comparison, they're just not as viable at a range. Now the STG-44 has a great magazine size, but it's still outdone by that M1907, in my opinion. A lot of people like it because it's very controllable, but in my opinion, I just don't see it winning in a gunfight against an SMG up close. The 1916, another semi-automatic rifle. I don't know what else to say about these guns. They're just great. It just has a lower fire rate than the other ones, so in my opinion, I wouldn't play with it. But if you feel comfortable with that weapon, definitely grab that gun. Now the Gewehr 15. The fire rate bit lacking in comparison to the M1907, but still solid choice for an assault rifle. It's a pretty good gun. I've used it a little bit, not too much, but it's definitely solid assault rifle. Now the AG M42, it's lacking in stopping power. It feels like it's lacking in fire rate. The magazine is lacking. I just, for the other, compared to the other semi-automatic rifles, it wouldn't be my first choice. Now finally, the 1918, we have a bipod. This gun is great. Just because of that bipod, a lot of newer players should feel really comfortable with it. Just because it can give you that accuracy and control downrange. More experienced players, I would say definitely go with the M1907. But if you feel that you're having trouble controlling your burst fire, try out that 1918. let me know in the comments what you think about that gun. A lot of people have different opinions on it, though. Okay, now we're going to move on to the gadgets. We have, firstly, the Panzerfaust or the Piat. Situational. The Panzerfaust is an anti-vehicle weapon. First and foremost. It's great right now against infantry, but I think they're going to change it back so that it is primarily an anti-vehicle weapon, like it was intended to be. However, currently in the state of Battlefield, use the Panzerfaust. It is just great right now. But again, it's depending if you're playing a light infantry or a vehicle buster class. Now, the other gadget we get is the Dynamite Frag Rifle or AT Mine. Now, again, situational. You playing the light infantry, or are you playing the vehicle buster? The frag rifle is great for light infantry because it can make quick work of a squad, give you that little bit of an advantage up front. Whereas the dynamite, great for laying down some traps and bases in conquest or domination and taking out tanks. AT mines, I see a lot of people use them. The tanks are just so underpowered right now that there's not really a point in using them, just because if you are aiming to take out tanks, dynamite, Panzerfaust, and you'll do some damage real quick. But as for gadgets, that's how it goes. But base it on your role as a class. Are you going to play a light infantry, or are you going to play a vehicle buster? But onto the grenades. So the tank grenade, if you're playing vehicle buster, back to this role thing. If you're playing vehicle buster, grab that tank grenade. It gives you that extra, like, just whatever you need to take out that last bit of a tank if you can't finish it off. The incendiary grenade, great for throwing in doorways. If you're making an escape is how I use the incendiaries. Say I'm retreating from an area, I throw it in the doorway so I know if I see that hit marker, I know they're coming after me. Now, you can throw it in areas that you know, choke points. It's great, the incendiary for the support class and the assault class. I think the only class it's not on is the recon, actually. I believe medics also have it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it is. It's across the board. It's a great option. And finally, the frag grenade. Usually, that is my go-to, is the frag grenade, just because it has the explosive damage in a room. You throw it in there, and you take out their cover. It's not as good anymore. However, because of the lack that it can't take out sandbags like it used to, now it requires 2 grenades to take out sandbags, which is, say on maps like Devastation, where you can't get to the top of the tower through the back stairs without taking out those sandbags, that basically takes away what was one of the biggest things on that map that I used that frag grenade for, was for that flank. You throw that grenade, run up there, spray a little bit, and you took out the squad, and you move on, and you take out that point that they have to look over the center objective. Now, for the roles, we have the light infantry and the vehicle buster. I'll start out by talking about the light infantry. It's the one I use primarily when I'm playing assault, because usually when I'm playing assault, I don't really have to contend with vehicles too much. When there are vehicles, I can make quick work of them with either, really. The vehicle buster, if the other team's very good in tanks, I would say go with vehicle buster. But on average, I'm noticing everybody's about the same in tanks. I've run into maybe 5 tanks that gave me trouble throughout the time I've played Battlefield 5. But the light infantry, we'll start out here. The scavenger trait, it's so great. We can pick up ammo, more ammo than we usually could, off of enemies that we killed. You can constantly resupply. You don't have to worry about getting to a resupply point or looking for a support class character. It's there. make that kill, grab the ammo, move on. And the battle hardened trait for the health regen is also great because we don't have to look for medics and we don't have to look for the medical resupply points as often, which also gives us quite a big advantage against other classes. Even medics, really, because of our weapons, we already had an advantage over them, but now because of these two perks, we have also a slight advantage, even more so than we had previously. Now the Vehicle Buster. You have the Vehicle Scrapper trait, which gives us the requisition from taking out vehicles, and the Vehicle Painter. The Vehicle Painter is very important on maps like, say, Eris, where the tank could be driving through the field and you hear it, especially now that they changed the sounds. You hear it, but you can't exactly put a direction to it, and you're hiding in the bushes or something, trying to avoid that tank. Now, to help your team out, you can paint that tank by shooting a rocket at it, hitting it with a grenade, throwing dynamite at it, or AT mines. I believe even the frag rifle can paint the tank now. But overall, the Vehicle Buster's great, but it's just, unless they give the tanks a massive buff or people start playing really good in tanks, I just don't see it being necessary. But what it all comes down to, guys, just like every other class in Battlefield 5, what is your playstyle? And my playstyle is fairly aggressive as Assault. I cannot stress it enough, with this class, with the Recon class, any other class, flank. If you get that first shot on someone, you are that much more likely to succeed and take out the enemies in the objective. That's the whole point of this game. Other people like to snipe outside of it and just pick the enemies that are in the objective. I like to clear the objective. There's other teammates who obviously are better at defending. That's not really my thing unless I'm playing support class, which we'll get to in my next video. You guys have a great day. Like, subscribe, and leave some comments what you think below so that I know if I'm doing a good job with these videos. But you guys, have yourselves a great week.